yeah, it's a fucking bad answer, but that doesn't change my support for him at all. Here is something that took place with Zohran as well. A lot of people were yelling at him too over his Israel has a right to exist line, which I totally understand why he said that. Here was my take on it, but here. New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani this morning, following the story that he declined to sign on to the Assembly resolutions recognizing Israel's independence and condemning the Holocaust. I do support Israel's right to exist as a state, he says.
Right to exist as a state.
Yes, I do support its right to exist as a state.
Do you support?
And like, the thing is, this is a gotcha, okay? And I think maybe I'm wrong about this, but this is a gotcha, okay? Everyone needs to understand, like, oh, do you think Israel has a right to exist? It's a total fucking, it's a total gotcha, all right? It's incredibly stupid to ask this question. No state has a right to exist. There is no, like, fundamental enshrined right for states to exist. That's not a real fucking concept at all. People have a right to exist within a state boundary, within a boundary that you could consider a fucking state. And the reason why I answer this question is like this, okay? The reason why I say this is because here's my answer. No state has a right to exist. People have a right to exist. Israel already exists as a state. Palestine, for example, does not currently exist as a state. But having said that, Nazi Germany had no right to exist. Neither did Rhodesia. Israel, as an apartheid state doing a genocide, has no right to exist in its current formation. That's it. Okay? That's it. And I will tell anyone that fucking turns around and says, like, oh, you mean, so you want Israel to not exist? I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. If Israel is going to only maintain itself as an apartheid state, as it seems like it will, then yeah, it has no right to exist. It is literally illegal for Israel to exist in the current ways that it does. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. Now, obviously, there's a difference between me saying that as a white Muslim dude in fucking America as a political commentator on Twitch, not even on mainstream outlets, even if I do have a mainstream audience here, versus a brown Muslim dude running for office as mayor of New York. I said, I like Zohran a lot. I don't think that anyone has to play these games anymore, but maybe the boomer electorate of New York City is not equipped to hear that from a Muslim mayoral candidate. That's it. Like, I'm still willing to entertain or give grace to Zohran on this issue, especially because Zohran is not a Zionist. Like, he is not fucking pro-Israel in any meaningful capacity. It's fucking ridiculous to make it seem as though he's now like controlled opposition or totally held captive or something like that. I think it's sort of another from the river to the sea thing. For example, Norm saying it's not ideal because it leaves room for malicious interpretation. Saying Israel doesn't have a right to exist is also not ideal because it leaves room for malicious interpretation. Not to say we shouldn't kowtow to bad faith actors, but it's still an all-force error. Yeah, which is why I'm offering clarity to what I mean when I say Israel does not have a right to exist as an apartheid state doing a genocide. If Israel was not doing a genocide, and if it was not an apartheid occupation, then the equation would be very different. First of all, there would be no fucking Hamas, for example. Like, there would be no militancy against it. It would be an entirely different enterprise. You might as well call it a different state at that point. You might as well call it Palestine at that point. It doesn't fucking matter. It's not Israel at that point. It's something totally different. And that's what it is.
Do you believe
here? Yes, this is Francesca Albanese's take on it, which I'm robbing from, by the way. Obviously, when I say what I say, and she is 100% correct.
that Israel has a right to exist?
Israel does exist. Israel is a recognized member of the United Nations. Besides this, there is not such a thing in international law like a right of a state to exist. Does Italy has a right to exist? Italy exists. Now, if tomorrow Italy and France want to merge and become Ita France, fine. This is not up to us. What is enshrined in international law is the right of a people to exist. So the state is there, the state of Israel is there, is protected as a member of the United Nations. Does this justify the erasure of another people?
Like, I mean, I obviously take a more aggressive approach than she does. She uses the perfect language on this, obviously, as she is the special rapporteur of the occupied Palestinian territories in the UN.
Oh, hell no. Not 75 years ago, not 57 years ago, surely not today. Where is the protection of the Palestinian people from erasure, from annexation, from illegal occupation and apartheid?
I think 19 months in, though, I'm going to be honest, 19 months in, we should be a little bit better with these like very quick responses, you know? I think that if you are a prominent public anti-Zionist voice, like there's some quippy, because this is a fucking cynical question, right? This is not a real question. Oh, does Israel have a right to exist? Like, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean, does Israel have a right to exist, right? You said it on Twitter. I said it on stream. It doesn't fucking matter. Ideologies have local interpretations. Bolshevism in the USSR, Maoism in China, of the socialist ideology. Same way Italian fascism in Italy, Nazism in Germany, and so on. Zionism is fascism adapted to the Israeli condition. Nothing controversial about this, as you've said. Exactly. So this is a very cynical way to ask this question. It is an all lives matter style question, okay? It is an all lives matter to a Black Lives Matter equation here, okay? Just like claiming that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free is like the idea that like we have to criminalize this statement, which is an emancipatory slogan, because of what people who defend Israel interpret it as is ridiculous. Okay, it's the same exact problem with the does Israel have a right to exist question. It is designed in this very cynical way for people to be tripped up and be afraid of answering it in a thoughtful manner. But since it's 19 months into a genocide that has been broadcasted, a live streamed child Holocaust, I think it's appropriate for people to answer this correctly. Zohran represents the DSA. He's saying this is a DSA endorsed candidate. Does Israel have a right to exist? Is a central question of Zionism. If you do not deny this question, then you cannot claim anti-Zionism. No, I don't chatter, slatty matty. I agree. That's why I'm saying there's an appropriate way to answer it, and I think someone at this stage should be able to answer it appropriately. That's what I mean, because it is a disingenuous question. Okay, it's a disingenuous question. It's like saying, "Do you condemn October 7?" 19 months in. They'd be like, October 7, October 7, October 7, October 7. The answer to that since October 7 was, how did October 7 happen is the real question that we must ask ourselves. And if you think it happened because of the barbarity of Muslims, if you think that they're just like especially and exceptionally anti-Semitic and that's why they did October 7, then you're wrong. That is not the reason. The reason is the 74 years of apartheid occupation and ethnic cleansing that took place that led to the rise of militant resistance against such matters. This is precisely how October 7 happened. This is precisely why October 7 happened. At Acacia Magazine launch party yesterday, Zohran Mamdani confronted with his recent statement that Israel has a right to exist. Don't be hypocritical and say free Palestine, and you're defending the right for Israel to exist.
The suburbs. What do you say? I have a question. What do you say about politicians that constantly reaffirm Israel's right to exist? Because people like me are constantly attacked by politicians for standing up for Palestine, and you are constantly defending the right for Israel to exist. My family is in Palestine right now, constantly under attack, and I'm hearing you say free Palestine, but also Israel has the right to exist.
What did he answer this with? This is a valid moment of anger, by the way. I look. Is it a genocide or is it not a genocide? You know what I mean? If you believe it's a fucking genocide, then you have to hear what this person is saying and treat it with the dignity that they deserve.
Don't be hypocritical. Don't be hypocritical and say free Palestine when you're also defending the right for Israel to exist. It does not have the right to exist. It does not have the right to exist. It's not your land to say it has the right to exist.
Woo!
I wanted to see what he would say after those words. He's in such a rough spot though. New York is Zionism Central. Nah, I mean he's Muslim. He's an anti-Zionist Muslim. What do you mean? He already every moment that he steps foot into any establishment, by his mere presence People are already assuming that he is pro-Hamas and pro a million October 7s. Like, does that mean he has to like massage his narrative? No, I think he should be honest about his perspective. I think the reason why. So what's the right answer? The right answer is what I said. Like this is a disingenuous question. This is a totally disingenuous question, and the answer to it is no state has a right to exist. People have a right to exist, but no state has a right to do genocide and apartheid. So therefore, no, Israel does not have a right to exist in the ways that it currently does. It's that simple. Like, Zohran knows it's a genocide. He understands it's a genocide. He has spoken out against the genocide multiple times. It's not like what do you call it? This is, to me, is shooting yourself in the foot. You're ruining the chances of people getting in power that can actually help. This clip makes him look bad and hurts his chances. You either want people that agree with you in power or not. No, I don't think it's appropriate to be like, yeah, that Palestinian person whose fucking family members are being ethnically cleansed should be chill about the ethnic cleansing that's taking place. So South Africa didn't have a right to exist before 1994. What do you think my assumption is there? Yes. Yes. Apartheid South Africa had no right to exist. Exactly. Yes. Did the Confederacy have a right to exist? Did the Confederate States of the United States have a right to secession and a right to exist while still upholding the unjustifiable practice of chattel slavery? You thought this was a good gotcha? Why the fuck would I ever say... What do you mean? America right now doesn't even have a fucking right to exist. Like, what are we talking about? What are we fucking talking about? Yeah. Rights are reserved to people and corporations. Yeah, so Nazi Germany didn't have a right to exist? Interesting. I think given the insane amounts of attacks he's receiving at this point, it's up to him to deal with it whichever way he thinks is the best way to deal with it. This question is a gotcha because they don't like it when the answer is anything other than a yes or no. What happened is that last month he got forced into a yes or no response by the Free Press. His views are obviously a lot more complex on this topic than just yes. When asked if he believes Israel has a right to exist, Mamdani replied via email, "My view of Israel-Palestine has been driven by a commitment to universal application of human rights, international law, and the freedom of all without exception." I followed up with Mamdani, asking him to answer the question. I mean, yeah, the Free Press is literally a fucking a Zionist dish rag. Who gives a fuck what they have to say? Zohran has consistently recognized the state of Israel as well as its responsibilities under international law and the laws of war. They just don't want to, he doesn't want to say no, because they'll just clip it after he says no to be like, he wants to genocide all Jews. Look at him. Look at this scary Muslim man. He wants to genocide all Jews, which is why the answer there should be what he was trying to establish over and over again. Follow the fucking law. People exist. States already exist. The existing states should follow the fucking law. And if they don't follow the law, then no, they don't get to exist. It's that simple. Imagine saying you were going to vote for the guy over a 3-second clip. I mean, there is not a single person that is as close to power as Zohran Mamdani is that has his level of precision when talking about Israel's criminality, okay? So this is the reason why I say, like, yeah, it's a fucking bad answer, but that doesn't change my support for him at all.